for some reason. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the entire group that's here. We're excited to have you. I met Fran. I've heard about Fran over the years because I've had so many people work with her organization, and everybody's like, oh, Fran, she's the best and she's amazing. And her organization is incredible. And she and I sat on a couch maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, and I just fell in love with her. I think she's amazing. I think the work that she's doing is amazing. So I'm really excited to have her. A little bit about her background for those of you who don't know. She's a devoted catalyst of women's economic equality and the founder and CEO of the Women's Business Development Council, a leading organization for championing women, female entrepreneurs, and women's economic equity. Fran served a 3-year term as an appointed member of the President's National Women's Business Council, an independent source of advice and counsel to the President, Congress, and the U.S. Small Business Administration. She serves on the Board of Women Impacting Public Policy in conjunction with the U.S. State Department and University of Connecticut's Office of Global Affairs. Fran taught women and entrepreneurs in rural Costa Rica, financial management and business strategies. So with that, I will pass it off to you, Fran. Again, I really appreciate you being here. And as a woman, I just love seeing other incredible women doing great things for other women. So thank you for being here, and I will pass it along to you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm really happy to be here. You definitely did not have the shortened version of the bio, but thank you so much for taking the time to read it. And I'm really excited to be here today because Marjorie and I have been talking about me doing this for a long time. So what I thought I'd do is take you through a brief slide presentation, but first give you a little background about me. And then I would love to, if anybody's interested, I would love to ask questions, answer questions, I should say. So thank you so much, Marjorie, for inviting me, and Camille, thank you. We met such a long time ago, I think when SVP was kind of just getting started. And I'm so glad that we're doing this today. Happy to be working with you. In fact, I think one of your partners just became involved with WBDC, so I'm happy about that. So I started WBDC along with a bunch of really fabulous people almost 25 years ago, and I can't even believe it. I was at the time a single unemployed mom with 2 little girls, ages 2 and 5. I was living a really nice Fairfield County life, and then mental illness hit my family with my former husband. And I needed to get a job quickly after my divorce. And I started trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. I had very little job experience because I come from a very provincial Italian family. And going to college was not, the fact that I went to college was a big deal. I was the only woman in my family to go to college. And so I didn't have a lot of family support. And so getting divorced was also not part of what happened in that family. So here I was in Connecticut. My family was back in the old country in Brooklyn, New York, and wanted me to come home and live in the basement. And all I could think about was, what was I going to do? Because my very short career was on Wall Street, because the expectation was I was going to get married immediately after college and immediately have babies, which is what I did. And so I was fortunate enough to have a group of fabulous girlfriends who were very educated and very independent. And what their help yielded was that Connecticut was the only state in the country that did not have an educational organization in place to help women entrepreneurs launch and scale their businesses. A law had been passed in 1988 called the Women's Business Ownership Act of 1988. And that law did a number of things. One of the most important things that it did was it gave women the right to access capital in their own name for commercial purposes without having a male co-signer. And that was only 1988. The other thing that it did was that it created a grant program designed so that each state in the country would have seed funding to launch an educational organization to help women launch and scale businesses. And Connecticut didn't have that. And so at that moment in time, my personal passion around gender equity was met with this need in our community, and gathered around a lot of really terrific women and a few good men. And we formed a corporation, applied for nonprofit status. There are a lot more fun details around that, but we're very limited with time. And WBDC was born around a kitchen table, like many small businesses are born. So here we are 24 years later, and our budget has grown from that $125,000 seed grant from the federal government to over $3.2 million today. And we serve all of Connecticut. We have 3 offices, Stamford, New Haven, and New London, and we serve women from all 169 cities and towns. So I'll take you through a little detail. In the United States, we have over 8 million women-owned businesses, and with annual revenues of over $1 trillion, employing nearly 8 million people. And Connecticut itself is home to over 123,000 business owners, generating $26 billion in revenue and creating over 141,000 jobs. So it was there obviously was a need in Connecticut, and WBDC is filling that need. Our mission, as I shared, is to help businesses launch and grow across Connecticut. And the last year, we have been incredibly busy because our services have been more in demand than ever. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy, and the majority of micro businesses in our state are owned and operated by women. And during this pandemic, they have been severely compromised and disproportionately impacted. So this is what we do. It's training and education, classroom training, how to write a business plan, small group training, small group workshops, and one-on-one business counseling and mentoring. The financial education piece that we offer gives folks a solid foundation from which to launch their business, right? Your personal financial house has to be in order before you can really even think about starting a business. And once you do start your business, we're there to help you in that department, of course, as well. Access to capital was always something that we did by providing technical assistance. Technical assistance means that we would help people get their business in order so that they can apply for funding. And that our role really pivoted during COVID. So this is what our clientele looks like. The 88% fluctuates between 88% and 98% in any given year. The majority of the businesses, obviously, that we serve are Connecticut-based, but we do see a lot of business owners from Rhode Island and Westchester County, New York. You can see that the breakdown of our ethnicities in Connecticut really reflects the state's population, and that's something that we're really proud of. We make a lot of effort to keep it that way. African-American women are starting businesses at a faster rate than any other ethnic group in the country. So I'm really glad to see that we're on par with that. Majority of our businesses are low to moderate income, and that varies community to community throughout Connecticut. And you can see that our stages of business, the majority of them are established, and those percentages were completely opposite when we first launched 24 years ago. And annual business revenues of our clients are over nearly $42 million, and we believe that our clients create nearly 1,300 jobs, create or maintain. So a little deeper dive into entrepreneurial training programs. These are just some of the programs that we offer. helping aspiring entrepreneurs, helping women that are already in business further develop their business concepts and bring a product to market, and then mentoring and counseling, which is something that seems to be more in demand than ever. Accessing capital. What we do is help businesses develop sound financial management strategies so that they are able to articulate their business in a financial way and explain that to potential investors. Most entrepreneurs are very passionate about what it is that they do, and many really don't have the business background, especially women, in the area of finance. And we really are working to overcome that because it's one of the biggest obstacles to success for women. In the last 2 years, we've helped our clients secure over $18 million in capital. And our financial education. We're the only organization in Connecticut that combines personal finance and business finance as a strategy for success. And our mentoring and financial education program work hand in hand together. It's a holistic approach. Our goal is to make sure that our potential business owners are on sound financial footing, and our business owners always have a handle on their finances. So each business is unique, and that's how we approach all of our work. Seminars and workshops, individual counseling. A lot of entrepreneurs don't have time to go to seminars and workshops. And advanced coaching really helps clients that are in a financial crisis really take a harder look at their business. So this is really what I wanted to focus on today, sharing with you what we've done in the last nearly 12 months. Since COVID, everything has changed at WBDC, as it has around the world. But right here in Connecticut, our role has just catapulted us. The increase in our services is over 650%. Typically, in any given year, we would see about 800 women who required our services. This past 12 months, it's increased by, as I said, over 650%. It's been an incredible need to deliver and handhold people and be that lighthouse for women and men to access the PPP, to access all of the programs that were being offered by the federal government and the state of Connecticut as well. And in doing so, we helped our clients secure over $12 million in stimulus funding. So our response to that has been, what can we do? What more can we do to help our clients? Because we know that women were disproportionately impacted. And so we realized that childcare is a major part of our country's infrastructure, but it's not treated that way. And we're so proud that in Connecticut, this is a priority for the governor and his administration. And so we are working very, very closely with Commissioner Beth Bai at the Office of Early Childhood to address that the 50,000 slots that we were short on prior to COVID, and then address what happened to many of those childcare businesses when COVID hit. So 70% of those businesses, only about 70% of those businesses have reopened since COVID. And the goal is to help these childcare businesses, all of them reopen, and including the slots that we were short on, so that they can help the Connecticut workforce get back to work. Oops. So in partnership with the state of Connecticut, we are working with childcare providers by equipping them with the skills, the connections, and the confidence to strengthen their business. We have an advisory board in place that works with us on this program, and our program includes all of this, and more importantly, grants of up to $50,000 to childcare providers licensed in the state of Connecticut. In December, we provided $1.6 million in childcare grants to over 100 childcare businesses. And I think this is really important to understand because we all know that women across all socioeconomic backgrounds have been disproportionately impacted by COVID. We know that women that are in the corporate sector in high-level jobs are fleeing because they can't handle what's happening, the additional the burdens of additional childcare, homeschooling, taking care of elderly parents who have fallen ill, managing their job from home. It's all been too much. And then women on the lower end of the economic spectrum can't go back to work. They don't have childcare anymore. They have family that have been sick or that have died that they can no longer rely on, and they are frontline workers. So I'm really excited about this program in terms of getting childcare, the issue of childcare front and center. And we're really hoping that we can build this out as a national model as the current administration really seeks to put childcare front and center, early childhood education as well. So another program that we launched is to focus on the blue economy in the New London County, Connecticut, where we have another office. And we have created unique educational programs to cultivate the entrepreneurial instincts of military spouses, trailing military spouses. So this is a quick slide on what we have done there. It's a very unique community. We're very, for many years, we were very Fairfield County, New Haven County based. And over the last few years, we've expanded and we've learned about the unique needs of different communities. So we're excited to be launching this program, and it's something else. It's another program that we're really hoping we can expand to help other military sites around the country. We launched a membership program because our clients really were looking for a place to connect, a community of women. So we launched our WBDC membership. There's a no charge option and a for charge option that I believe is $40. And we also launched a virtual marketplace in November during the holiday season to really elevate our business owners and give them access to new markets because many of the businesses were impacted by COVID. So this is the program that I'm most proud of. We launched something called the Equity Match Grant Program. It's a program by which we award cash grants of up to $10,000 to women and minority entrepreneurs disproportionately impacted by COVID. So this isn't a COVID relief grant. This is a grant to help businesses pivot. And by pivot, we mean a retail store where their sales have been down and they don't have an online option for shopping. And so we are looking for people to come up with innovative and creative ideas so that they can pivot their business and not only survive through COVID, but thrive after COVID. Some of the recipients of these grants that we awarded last month are, you can see, geographic representation and very diverse types of businesses. We had another deadline, which was February 15th. We had 207 applications, and our team is vetting them right now. We raised over $1 million in less than 2 months with the help of the Lieutenant Governor. And you can see on the bottom of this slide, the banks that have the companies, not just financial institutions. Webster Bank was our lead funder, our lead investor with an initial grant of $100,000. WBDC is not taking any operating expenses. We are not charging any operating expenses. Every nickel that has come in for this program will be put in the hands of women-owned businesses in the form of grants. The way we were able to do that was because the federal government provided us with additional funds to help women-owned businesses get through COVID. So this is such a fabulous public-private partnership. We raised over $500,000 from the companies that you see. The state matched it dollar for dollar. So we have this $1 million to put on the street right now, and the federal government is paying for the administrative cost. So every nickel that we raise is going right into the hands of women entrepreneurs. And I'm really proud to have been working in concert with the Lieutenant Governor and her office on this project, and Commissioner David Lehman and Deputy Commissioner Glenn Thames as well, because there's only so much that the federal government can do. We know that 60,000 small businesses in Connecticut receive the payroll protection program. We know that 80% of them were white-owned businesses. And of those 80%, 74% were male-owned. Black-owned businesses, 5% of PPP, Latinx businesses, 3% of PPP. So we are really trying to get these small grants into the hands of the people that need it the most. So a few ways that you can engage with WBDC: sign up for our newsletter, become a member at no cost or low cost, help us identify investors in the Equity Match Grant Fund, make a contribution to our general operating fund, become a part of our leadership team, volunteer, counsel, mentor female entrepreneurs. And something new that we're starting to offer is corporate leadership. In the last 2 years, a lot of companies have come to us asking us if we could take the training that we offer to entrepreneurs and deliver it to the female middle managers in their company to help advance them. It's a way to offer professional development, but it's also helping people develop an entrepreneurial mindset to kind of own their jobs and think of themselves as an entrepreneur. So we're really excited about that initiative. And thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you today. I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm open to questions.
Thanks so much, Fran. I'll start with one, and then I guess maybe it just makes sense for people to just like wave their hands since it's a somewhat manageable size group. How do small businesses find out about you? Is it through word of mouth, or like how do they organically get to you?
So we are definitely the first thing to come up in the Google search, but we have a very aggressive public relations and marketing strategy in place. So we're very active on social media. If you're a woman entrepreneur in Connecticut or you're a business owner in Connecticut, you just have to Google resources for women entrepreneurs. But a lot of what we do is really by word of mouth. We have a lot of organizations that we partner with around the state to make sure that our message is amplified by them. So we're always looking, to tell two friends about it, if you will. But in the last 2 weeks, there must have been, I would say, 8 news articles on our economic impact around the state and the work that we've done during COVID, and of course, the Equity Match Grant. So that's driving a lot of people. Right now, we're also hosting, we're working with the Legislative Bipartisan Women's Caucus. I'm doing probably 5 Zooms with every female legislator in Connecticut a week, with each female legislator a week, because they want to get this information out to their constituents. So our brand is really being elevated to a whole new group of people who may or may not already know about us.
Thank you.
Sky, hi.
Hi, Fran. It's great to see you again. And
Likewise.
Last time we spoke, I think in the fall, I don't know that we spoke specifically about early childhood education. I don't know that I got to learn as much about the background of all that you do, and about your personal history that really, drove, got you into this work. That's really powerful. So thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
I definitely have some questions around early childhood, so if that's okay.
Sure, I'm not an expert in it, but I will be happy to do my best, and whatever I can't answer, I will refer to somebody on my team.
Well, just I'm curious, given the slides that you showed, what do you think have you've really, I guess this is a two-part question. What has had the greatest impact of what you've been doing? And I'm guessing it's the grants and the financial incentives. I mean, the sector is really hurting right now. So maybe putting that aside, because we know that the dollars are just so important.
Sure.
What do you think has been the most helpful to the small business owners? And what are some of the biggest challenges that you're really seeing and that you've been learning as you've started to work more and more in this sector? And it's such an important sector. So thank you.
Sure. It is such an important sector. You know, look, when I was a single mom, childcare was like, oh my God, like I remember, you know, getting, because of my income, I was eligible for fee discounts, but even then it was overwhelming because the facility was only available until 6. You had to figure out how to pick them up at 6. And then it was, you know, building this business. I was out at night a lot, right? So like many parents, right? Who leaves who gets to stop working at 6 o'clock? So, or 5 o'clock. So then there was the kind of coordination of someone else to help out, right? Anyway, that's, you know, having that experience, the whole childcare dilemma is just something that's really close to my heart. So I'm really grateful to Commissioner 5 for taking this on. So you asked about what the biggest win, and the biggest win has been reaching the family-owned childcare providers in particular, and reaching the most vulnerable childcare providers and letting them know that there is a community that is here to help them. When we started trying to reach out to the community, there are so many barriers, cultural and language at the top. And so being able to provide services in Spanish was really, really helpful. And I have one board member who's an SVP partner that we would not have been able to do it without Evelyn Isaiah, who speaks a multitude of languages and has really helped us while we've been searching for Spanish-speaking business professionals. So I would say that the biggest win has been the absolute sheer joy of these childcare providers who never thought of themselves as business owners, don't have separate bank accounts, don't have a relationship with a personal banker, you know, don't keep financial records, to know that there is now a resource that is going to help them, because they were completely left out of being able to apply for not only the payroll protection program, but any of the grant programs through the state of Connecticut, because they didn't have systems in place. Many of them are so family oriented in that they take care of their sisters' kids, their brothers' kids, their nieces, you know, they don't think of themselves as a business. So really working hard to help them understand that this is a business. They were already operating on very thin margins. And so now the challenge with those that have received the grants is making sure that they stay connected to us. So our outreach has to be very, very strategic, because we want to make sure that we keep them very close to us and help them spend that money in ways that are going to help them not only put systems in place and technology in place, but also help them manage having that amount of money in one fell swoop, if you will. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's really helpful, because you're not only providing the grant, but the ongoing technical assistance
exactly.
and support that is really needed because these issues, the system was already in crisis, and even more so now. So these issues are not going away quickly. If I could just ask, what are the main things then that's leading to for advocacy for you at the state level? And I won't take up all the time with my questions.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, because as I said, it's something that I've always been really passionate about, having experienced what it does to your budget, right? So I think what we're looking at is really documenting and tracking the outcomes, because if you don't measure it, but you can't count what you don't measure, right? So we're fastidious with economic impact outcomes. We actually just bought a new and improved database system, and it's amazing that our team is so dedicated. We have 2 people dedicated to outcomes, so there's a lot of follow-up that takes place. But we want to be able to report that to our congressional delegation as well as our state legislators, and really want to make sure that it gets into the hands of Rosa DeLauro, who's really championing this in Congress. We know that she has a $50 billion bill on the table last year, and we're really hoping to see that come to fruition. I know that it's been chiseled away at for months now, but we're really hoping that that comes to fruition. And from an advocacy perspective, I think the data that we're collecting is going to tell a story. And the story is that we need childcare to be thought of in the same way we think about roads and bridges as being part of our infrastructure. You know, during World War II, the government provided childcare all over the country, and they paid for it, every nickel of it. And it was fabulous childcare. Why? Because the government had a need to get women in the workforce for the war effort. Once that went away, so did the childcare. And so if we did it before, I'm sure we can find a way to do it again, because we have to look at the economic impact of women not being in the workforce across all socioeconomic sectors. It's not just about, you know, high-paying jobs. It's about the lower ends of the economic spectrum and the challenges that those communities disproportionately face.
Thank
So
you.
that's how I feel about the advocacy piece. We're really spend a lot of time on collecting outcomes, and I'm really proud of our the number of folks that actually reach out back to us to report, right? Because that's a challenge, getting people to tell you their personal information, developing trust. And so that's something that I'm really proud of. I think we have over a 20% response rate when we conduct the outreach, not just isolated to childcare, but across the board of all WBDC programs.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Hi, Alana. I was saying Alana, I'm sorry, that's my daughter, Alana.
Hi, no, this was great. Thanks for presenting. And I appreciate everything you do. I was actually on another call this morning for a financial literacy workshop and under the government. And she was complimenting our program. I'm like, no, I utilize, we send clients to you all the time. So we have a lot of women that come to us who are working or looking for employment, but with that, they may be also looking to start their own company. Many women want to start their own companies. So I certainly, you're the first place I always think of to send our clients. And, so we appreciate the services. And I've been listening in on a lot of the workshops and webinars that you've been, and I can't say enough about how much you have been doing during this time and your advocacy efforts and your educational efforts. Just as a person, personally, I'm attending them, and we're also helping to spread the word about.
Thank you so much. And thanks for everything that you do. You just talked about women starting businesses. So the state of Connecticut has had, I believe it's a 20% increase in the number of new businesses formed during the pandemic. And at WBDC, we've seen a 20% increase in the last 12 months over the same period last year. So it's really interesting. And the majority of those businesses are being started by women of color. So I think there's a real story to be told there. If you think about people who have really lost jobs in hospitality, retail, education, healthcare, the women on the front lines who can no longer be on the front lines for a whole host of reasons, childcare being one of them. There's a real story to be told, and the economic impact that it's having, and the economic impact it will have over the course of a woman's lifetime.
But the child care is definitely an issue. And we see that with our members. And I'm sure you're seeing that with your members, that it's times are just topsy-turvy still in terms of where their children, are they going to school? Do they want their children to go to school? Can they sustain a business if their children aren't going to school? And can they afford childcare should they want to dedicate themselves to a full-time job or business?
It's so complicated that you almost don't even want to, it's so hard to think about, it's just so hard to think about. But as I said, I'm so proud of our state and the investment that the governor is making in this program. And the whole idea behind this program is to prop this industry up so that they are at less risk of being impacted to the degree that they have been impacted in the last 12 months, and to help them really think of themselves as real businesses and help them access the resources that are available to them as such.
Fran,
Anybody
this
else?
might be, sorry.
No, sure.
Saying something?
Mm-mm.
This might be really hard to answer, but what is the thought about what it's going to look like in 6 months, 8 months, a year when we're past COVID? Is the thought that people are going to be able to get their jobs back once childcare and everything is up and running, or is the thought behind like all of these positions that women held that now had to leave their jobs? Like what is the forecast looking like?
I don't know. I'm not an economist, but I will say that what I've read has said that, work, we talk about a hybrid education system. We're going to have a hybrid work program, work back to work schedule. I was reading the McKinsey report from a couple of months ago, and it talked about women not being so negatively impacted by leaving because of everything that's going on around COVID, and the reentry is going to be that much harder. This is what I read. This is what I've read in Forbes and The Atlantic, and a whole host of articles. I don't know, but what I do know is that if we don't address what's happening on Main Street in our country, I think our life and culture as we know it is going to be forever. It is going to be forever changed no matter what. But if we don't rescue small businesses and recognize that women are the majority of those Main Street businesses, owners, operators, and employees, the gender economic impact of this is, I think it's incalculable.
Yeah.
So I wish I knew what it would look like. I have optimism because I feel like one of the silver linings is that where companies were so stringent about work-life balance, of which there's no such thing, I think especially for men and women, we've seen the benefits of working from home.
Yeah.
My team hasn't been in the office since March 15th. We were able to quickly pivot because we all had the ability to work from home anyway. Haven't seen a decrease in productivity, as I shared, right? A 650% increase in clients. And I think a lot of companies are recognizing that they will have happier employees and possibly even more productive employees. So I don't know the answer to the question. I wish I did.
You just think of like the salary slide that women often take when they leave the workforce, and now, they're going to be hit with that again. It's really just so frustrating.
Well, the impact over the lifespan of a woman is where you really see the damage, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't ever recoup those earnings.
Right.
And I think that's where it really, really hits home and I think that's why women are starting so many businesses and saying, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I have, 6 months of savings I can live on. I'm going to get this business off the ground. And, if my income is cut in half, somehow I'm going to manage because I don't have childcare anyway, and I'm home and I could do this while I'm home. And I think there are so many reasons why women are turning to small business ownership and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And I think COVID is a big factor in that.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Other questions?
I have a quick question. Hi,
Sure.
I
Hi,
really
Allison.
liked that presentation a lot. It was,
Oh, thanks.
and I learned a lot. So just from what I've been studying actually recently in school, I know that nonprofits, and I've worked with a couple of nonprofits in the past, like ranging in sizes. I know that nonprofits kind of have an issue sometimes with their board of directors representing the clientele and the members that they're working with. And you mentioned how trust is like a huge factor that you guys want to employ in working with your clients. And so I was just curious how the board of directors at WBDC kind of, you balance the fact that you need people who do have connections, can help with fundraising, things like that. And that's usually, white people, especially white men, maybe a banker, someone who works for a bank, but then also working with startup businesses and such a diverse clientele. How do you kind of balance having a board of directors that can really reflect the needs and understand the needs of who you guys are working with?
That's a really great and thoughtful question, Allison. It's by having a very diverse and inclusive board of directors, right? So, the board at WBDC, it's comprised of entrepreneurs and mostly senior level business people from the corporate sector. And it reflects the same diversity that we have in our state. That's one of our goals. And so we have board members that are better at, fundraising because they have connections, and we have board members that are, much better poised to work with clients. So the woman that I mentioned earlier, Evelyn, is a great example of that because she is not culturally Latinx, but she speaks Spanish and I believe Portuguese. So it was a really easy transition for her, and she has a business background, and she has a passion to help less fortunate people. So with the childcare industry in particular, she was a tremendous asset for us. And then we have other board members who are white women. We just lost our only male on our board because his business has taken off. So we're out recruiting. But we have other women that maybe make a better mentor. They don't speak Spanish, so maybe they make a better mentor. They have more experience in consulting and coaching, counseling and coaching. So that has taken us a really long time to evolve to, I would say is about 80%, 85% active engagement on our board of directors. Some of our board members don't volunteer in a one-on-one capacity with our clients at all, but they have other business skills that they're lending to the organization as a board treasurer, as a member of the strategic planning committee. So we really try to make use of everyone's skills and make them have them enjoy what they're doing by making sure that their skills align with the need in the organization. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will just add that we have, as you know, Fran, like the most incredible partners. There's like 210 of us now. So if you're ever looking for a certain skill set, I just met this really interesting partner yesterday who's a leadership counselor and professional. And so if any of your businesses need a certain type of coach or advice or advisor or whatever, never hesitate to contact us. And although we service 14, I think, nonprofits now, everybody in our community just wants to help out. So we would be so happy to, lend a hand with any of your organizations or, support.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think a lot remains to be seen after this $1.9 trillion stimulus package hopefully is passed. I know that I'm guessing, I haven't read the bill, but I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot, only because of what's been said by the administration, a lot in there for small businesses. And I'm guessing that that's going to create another landslide of needs in, in our community. So absolutely, we'll definitely keep that in mind. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from anybody?
You may have said this at the beginning, but are you going to be able to share the presentation? Because some of the statistics I found particularly interesting.
So the presentation is actually in draft form right now. So no, I will not share it, but I'm happy to share the statistics with you because there are statistics. So I'm happy to share them with you, Christine. Just shoot me an email and tell me what you're looking for. Be happy to get it. Because I know that I said some statistics and they were not included in the deck.
Okay.
But that's a deck that is still, it's close to final, but it's not final. Yes, Haley, hi.
Hi there. I will jump in with the question. So as I said, I was forwarded this invite, so I'm a little new to all of the services you all offer, but I just established my own LLC and it's, I'm doing this blind. Thank you, but I'm doing it blind. So I'm trying to figure out exactly like the best way to navigate taxes and establishing an LLC without trying to talk to too many lawyers because
just call the office, just
Okay.
email me after this and I'll
Wonderful.
just hook you up with the business advisor. Yes, that's easy.
Wonderful. That's great.
Easy.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. What is your business?
So it's actually, it's called the Supper Series. Anyone is invited to join. It's a speaker series. It started as a dinner party in my apartment in New York, but now has turned into a virtual speaker series where I interview female entrepreneurs and raise money for the food bank for New York City.
That's
so
fabulous.
it's a really fun format. Anyone is more than welcome to join.
Oh, that's great.
Cool.
I'll put my email in the chat and anybody, who wants to reach out, please reach out.
Great. Thank you.
And I'll hook you up with, the appropriate person.
Ellie, that sounds awesome. Good for you.
Yes, it sounds amazing. That sounds so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
All right, anybody else? Guy, do you want to get in a couple more or you're good? She might have stepped away.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe.
Fran, I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you.
feel so wonderful hearing from a woman supporting so many women, and it's just exciting to have you talk. Hey, Ronnie. I just saw Ronnie for the first time to see if she's got anything, but I'm assuming she doesn't. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really have so much respect for what you do.
Thank you. Thanks for all you guys do. And, and we all just have to do what we can do. And I think Mother Teresa says, you just do what's in front of you. So I think if we all just do that, we will get out of this, hopefully sooner than later. But thank you for all of you two for participating. And I put my email in the chat. I'll put the website in the chat as well. And, sign up for the newsletter and stay in touch and connected to what we're doing. And we're always looking to bring on more volunteers. If you know people that are looking to get involved or engaged in something in the community, please send them our way. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Thanks, Marjorie. Take care. Bye, everybody. Bye, Deb. Bye, Allison.